One take wonder, baby. One take wonder. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Tim Michael, and welcome to another one of my videos right here on my channel on YouTube. I hope that you enjoy it. Today we're going to shift our focus a little bit because usually I would do a drawing, show you guys how I do it, give you a description about it, but it's going to be a little different today. Today I'm going to take a illustration that I did in Manga Studio EX5 and take it into Illustrator and convert it for you guys and show you how you can make these designs into things like t-shirts and signs and vehicle wraps and who knows what. But the goal is to take this image and to convert it in Illustrator into an illustrated image. I've done a couple different tutorials on this in the past, but this one's a little different. So this is drawn in Manga Studio EX5 like normal, but I did a few things differently. Usually I draw with a sensitivity or a stabilization of 25. Today I did it at a stabilization of 45. That's because I knew I'm going to be taking all of these lines and I'm going to be taking them into Illustrator and converting them from a JPEG into a vector format. And when I knew that I was going to be doing that, I need to make sure that my lines are as crisp as possible. So they're so crisp, in fact, that when I'm drawing with my pen in my tablet here, I'm learning that as I'm drawing, it's processing the line way behind me. So it takes a lot of time and patience to make it work, but it's worth it in the end. Some of this stuff I actually drew with symmetry, which means I'll use a symmetry ruler and then I'll make my line work for like the hands and the body and such. But let me warn you guys, when it comes to drawing a caricature of a person, or a portrait, or an illustration, whatever the fact may be, usually when it comes down to it, you don't want to use symmetry on the face, because no one's face is actually symmetrical. Usually there's parts off a little bit, and that's what makes the person a person. So keep that in mind when you're working on a commission where the person's face is straightforward. Don't think you can get away with doing symmetry to make things easier on yourself. That's not going to be the case. You want to focus on getting their likeness and getting that essence that I've talked about in so many videos, and that's going to play a really key role. So I got all that done. I've inked it. I'm inking it now and using my G pen with that super high stabilization to make sure that my line comes out as cleanly as possible for conversion. And then in a second here, we're going to jump over into Illustrator and finish those processes off. Now, one of the things that I want to do is I want to make sure that, like I said, those lines are crisp and clean. And then when I get it into Manga Studio, I'm going to make a lot of when I get it into Illustrator, I'm going to make a lot of those key changes. So you see me coloring it in here. It's just giving me an idea of how I want to move into the next one. I'm going to save it out as a JPEG, which is going to have a normal page, but it's going to be a high resolution, and I wanted a high resolution so it converts well. So when I get over here into Illustrator now, we're going to go ahead and take it, we're going to get the image converter, and it's going to convert it into the Illustrator format, which is going to make it all individual vectors. So once that's done, you'll see that I can actually select all these lines. They're all vectored now. They don't look exactly the same because the image is going to adjust itself slightly, but it still looks really good. It does leave behind some different little pieces and things, so I'll clean those up just by selecting the vectors and deleting them. And then from there, we'll go ahead and start getting it ready as a final illustration, all vectorized. That way it can be given to any print company for whatever publishing that they plan on doing with it. Now, the client wanted some text, so Noio is my Himo boy. I can't say it right, as Himo boy. And basically, they wanted a shirt design that looked an awful lot like another shirt design. This is kind of a parody off of that. It has that same kind of feeling and essence that I wanted to pull with. So it turned out really, really well, but there were a few things that had to be done first. And one of those things is that if you look at the bottom of the image just disappears. So you got the two lines of the shirt coming down, and then it just goes away. What I needed to do is make sure that that image finished somewhere. And I did it just by putting a marquee or a long rectangle along the bottom there just to finish off the image. But there was more reason than just doing that to finish off the image. Another thing that I really needed was to be able to put in a background so I could have white in the background. That way, if we take this to a printer or any kind of publisher, when they send it through their printers, they'll know that white is an important color involved in this. So what I did was I put that marquee across the bottom, and then I took all the layers with the text, the face, that square, I selected them all, and then I said, okay, I want to go ahead and make this shape, which I'm drawing in right now, part of those vectors. So it's not a separate vector, it's going to be part of them, and those vectors are going to take it and say, oh, you're part of the family, come join in. So once I go to my Pathfinder, and this is all stuff I'm willing to teach you guys if you want to hit that like button below to learn more. I hit the Pathfinder and I told it to read all the vectors all together. And once it did that, that means it's all one shape. So that little bottom bar has now become a part of that final shape of that illustration. Once that's done, I took all the layers in this, all the paths, I'll call them, in this layer panel, and I duplicated them. So now I have two of the exact same image, one over top the other. I locked the top layer and I hit it. And then once I hit it, I went and I started selecting through and deleting the inner paths. So it just left the outer shell, which would be called the silhouette. And that silhouette is going to be really key. Now, there's a lot of missing vectors that I didn't see. So if you hit Control-Y, it'll bring up this panel here where it'll show you all the vectors still there that you can delete. I selected them all. I deselected the outer silhouette because that's what I wanted to keep. And I deleted everything inside. Then I went Control-Y again to go back to the main area. Now I have a silhouette that I can paint white, put behind the other layer like it's already at. I open the I show the other layer on top of it again, and there we go. We have what we have here now. With that, I can do a lot of things. One of the things I wanted to add was a white stroke around Noio. And I'm not sure if I'm saying his name correctly, and I apologize if I'm not saying his name correctly. I know the client's probably going to watch this. And by taking the white background, I can take that background and I can I can multiply that layer and use that for many different things. So one of the things I did was I added a white stroke on the outside of that white layer to then give some depth and create this white stroke around it. Now if you look at the bottom, where we had that little rectangle down at the bottom, you'll see that there are some weird teeth-like marks on the bottom. Well, that's because it's reading some other vectors, and those vectors have also added stroke and those have messed up. So what I had to do is you got to take that stroke as well as the stroke of that circle, and you have to do something called expanding it. And by expanding it, what that means is it's going to take that stroke and it's not going to read it as one line that's been grown. It's going to read it as a shape, and that's a really important tool to use when you're working in vector. So once it's expanded, now I can go in and I can delete those toothy looking vectors, and after that's done, it looks really nice and clean. I think after that, I just went ahead and made my little watermark, which is designed by TimMichaelArts.com, and stuck it there. Very small, don't want it to become a main piece at all, just want some information if anyone's curious about getting a t-shirt design done by my company. And then once that's done, we're about done with the illustration. I did want to make sure that the client could see what it would look like in the end, so I did put a black box around it so they could see what it would look like on a black t-shirt, and I think that was a really key feature. With the text, I didn't mention the text. I did two layers for the text, and one layer and the other layer, kind of the same thing. The front layer had the white with the black stroke around it, and then the layer behind it was just black text. But then I took and I dropped down a couple pixels, which makes it look like it's standing outward. It gives it depth. It's a really cool trick, really easy to do, and it works in any program. You can do it in any program at all. Just multiply the text and drop the text just a couple pixels, and it works great. So that was the illustration. If you want to learn more about working in Illustrator, make sure to hit that like button for me. You can also share it. And if you didn't like this video, hit the dislike button, let me know. And then finally, guys, if you want, leave a comment down in the comment box below and let me know your thoughts. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Now, these videos are all supported by my patrons. My patrons are people who are donating $1 or more per video every time I make a new video to support me to make more videos. It's really helpful, and it's given me a whole bunch of equipment to make things better. I have a green screen coming in that we're going to try and work with. I have no idea how that's going to work, but there are lots of different things that we're doing to try and make these videos better, and I'm really excited about them. But I need your help. If you would consider going to patreon.com/TimMichaelArts and consider donating $1 a video, I got something special for you. I used to sell advanced tutorials that were very in-depth. Some of them were an hour, hour and a half long, teaching you how to draw eyes, nose, mouth, a whole bunch of different things. I used to charge $3, $4, $5, $6 for those. You can get them all now for completely free if you donate $1 per video. And remember, you can set a limit, so if you only want to donate $1 a month for as many videos as I make, which means that if I make 10 videos and you only want to support one video, you can set that limit so that way you're not paying more than $1, and you get all of my advanced tutorials completely free. And you can find them all on patreon.com/TimMichaelArts. So that's food for thought for you guys. Look me up on Facebook, Tim Michael Arts on Facebook, and of course on Instagram, where I am crazy on Instagram. Just look up Tim Michael Arts on Instagram as well, and I will look forward to seeing you guys very soon on another video. God bless you. I love you all, and I'll see you next time right here on Tim Michael Arts. Take care, guys. By the way, there's a whole bunch of videos all over the place here that you can click. Ooh, missed a message from my wife. Still here? Click a video.